Yo, 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 it's been one of those days, everyone. I'm telling you. You don't need me to tell you. You're probably having one of those days as well, right? Dang, some days it seems like there's more hours in the day than you know what to do with. Other days it's condensed into like a 6 hour period. And on top of all of that, yes, you know me being one of these new age men, right? I do the domestic engineering in the house. So I do the dinner and things like that. So I've been running about doing that, getting the dinner on. I've been going to the store. I had a visit from one of my nieces today. Myself and Kevin were sat chatting with her, catching up. It's been all go, folks. It really has been all go. But you don't need me to tell you, because we've all got these hectic lives now, right? That's one thing we've all got in common. And Tony Phillips in the chat room says, Kev, have you seen the latest Men in Black movie? Don't trigger me this early. Don't trigger me this early. Tony, did you do this purposely? Did you know? I'm going to throw some bait out to the dinosaur that is Kev Baker. You know, this guy that kind of loses the plot anytime he sees one of these companies, one of these film franchises going and getting woke. No, I haven't seen it, Tony. No, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. It's right up there on my list with, let me think about it, the new Terminator movie that's coming out. And also, is it Batgirl? I think Batgirl or Batwoman, the series, is going on CW. Yeah, that's high on my list as well. But topped off by all, the best one of all. Definitely the best one of all has to be, right? It's got to be, and I better take that off the screen. You're seeing where I'm going right away. I kind of gave away the plot a little bit there, didn't I? That's not so good. That's not how we're meant to roll on here. So yeah, that's where we're meant to be, okay? But no, top of my list of really cool movies that have been remade and gone woke has got to be Ghostbusters, right? Because love Ghostbusters, the new one. I must be the only person that loves the new Ghostbusters. People admiring my shirt. You really are seeing the true Kev Baker today. This is just what I usually kick about the house and say soccer top. It's not really. It's got a bit of a political statement on it, but we won't get into that too much today. Free Palestine. But yes, we've got lots to talk about today. But before we get going, I know we love to have a laugh and a joke and everything else in here, but I really want to start on a more somber note today, because it's something that's probably quite specific to the region that I live in here, probably people in Holland as well, and soccer fans, football fans around the world, I would imagine. But living in Glasgow, we've got the two biggest teams here in Scotland, and we've got Celtic and we've got Rangers, and it's tribal. It's like holy war. You pick one or the other, usually depending on what religion you are, Catholic and Protestant. And you love to hate the other side, right? You absolutely love to hate them, and it's back and forth. It's good banter usually, but sometimes people can take it too far, and people get hurt, literally. Like I say, it's tribal. It's quite childish if you're not into sports and things like that. But if you are into sports, think of a huge rivalry and then multiply it by 10. And that's what we've got here in Glasgow with Celtic and Rangers. But there are some occasions, some events, and unfortunately, usually tragic events that really brings down those divides and puts it all in the perspective that it really should be in. In the end of the day, it's just a game. And today, unfortunately, we lost Fernando Ricksen. Now, I'm on the other side of the divide here, folks. I'm a Celtic fan, and Fernando Ricksen, from a Celtic fan's point of view, was the player that you just loved to hate. And Fernando loved being that player. And if you were a Rangers fan, he was somebody you couldn't help fall in love with. He gave everything for the team. Every time he went out there, he left everything on the pitch. And that's why, he was probably so hated by Celtic fans during his playing career and loved and adored by the Rangers fans to this day. But in recent years, unfortunately, Fernando Ricksen got motor neurons disease. And they gave him something like 18 months to live a few years ago. And needless to say, obviously, with it being 2019 now, Fernando, just like the footballer he was, just like the guy he was, he battled this all the way. And motor neurons is something that is, it doesn't matter what football team you support, doesn't matter what religion you are, it doesn't really discriminate. And it's an increasing problem, it really is. And Fernando done his best to really highlight that and make people aware of this terrible, terrible disease. And he's only 43, same age as myself, you know. I really took this news quite hard today when I heard it. Because this guy, I mean, he leaves behind a family, folks. In the end of the day, people that are famous, people that are in the media, you know, they're easy to hate on. They're out there, they're celebrities, and, you know, you see some of the crap that goes on in social media nowadays, and I'm sure there'll be some idiots out there, Celtic fans, will want to make jokes about this. Much and such, the same as you'll get Rangers fans being insensitive when it comes to the other side. But I would like to think this puts everything in perspective, and just before we get going today, I needed to mention that because he's somebody that, although I didn't like my team playing against him, boy oh boy, would I have loved him to have been in my team. So before we get going, mark respect, and my thoughts, love, prayers go to his family right now. So yeah, not the nicest way to start a show. I know that, but it's something I felt I had to do. It's not much. It's token gesture. People say, oh, you're virtue signaling. But nah, brings it home, doesn't it? 43 years old. And people are lost every day. I get that. I get that. But, you know, to have watched this happen, it's not been pretty. And I would hate to think of anyone that's got somebody in the family that's dealing with that. It's absolutely shocking. It truly, truly is. So I'll go into the chat room. I'll give people a little shout out, see who's in there today. How many have we got creeping into the chat room so far? 89. Nice. You know, that round about 100 number? It seems to be our kind of optimum for the daytime streams. And I would rather have 100 of you people that are here right now than 100 million of the people that, like PewDiePie's got subbed to him. Of course I would love that 100 million. I'm only joking, folks. But let's get back to the chat room, shall we? Damn. I know that was a bit of a downer, folks. I know that, but I'll pick these back up. We've got lots to get into today. We've got some crazy stories from the UK, and it's put my dinner plans on hold. It truly has put my dinner plans on hold. We're going to be getting into that. We've got some creepy dolls from over on the KBS Discord. We've got a few stories from the KBS Discord. And speaking with Kristen today, I think it's going to be a good idea. Maybe on Fridays, right? On Fridays, we should be able to have a show dedicated to viewer submissions. And that's also going to encourage people maybe to join the Discord as well. Folks, I get no benefit. There's no like payback for you joining Discord for me. It's not as if like I've got some incentive in the background. It's just somewhere we can all go. We can all drop streams, links in there. You're going to see today, I've got a couple of links from a couple of the listeners already. There's going to be listeners out there thinking, but why did you take my link? And I put in the general chat on Discord today. There must be enough information in there for me to do about, I would say, a month's worth of shows. So if you ever hear me saying on this show or on TFR that there's nothing for me to talk about, I want you to email me right away and call me a liar. Because with all of the stuff that's already in there, this was the hope I had initially, apart from the side everyone could hang out together. And I've still to experience when something big goes down in the world. It's horrible to say. I don't want something big to go down. But I'm just imagining when you've got like 10 minds instead of one, pulling together all the information that they're coming across, it's going to be invaluable to not only somebody like me who has a show like this, but to all of you out there as well, right? Because we're going to be able to see all of the best information from all over the world. And that way it makes the picture, funnily enough, it sounds paradoxical. The more different takes you get, it becomes clearer. Should become more confusing, right? But no, it does become clearer. It does. So then let us just scroll back up the chat room. And I see Sidvich saying there. And Sidvich, obviously my friend from Norway. Big welcome to you. Also 43 years old. Yeah, exactly. And Tony says, just goes to show it doesn't matter how healthy or how fit you are, disease can take you in no time. R.I.P. Fernando. Absolutely. It doesn't discriminate, right? It doesn't see borders. It doesn't see color of skin. These things, it's shocking. It is. And in this day and age when we, arguably, I say arguably, not to trigger anyone, but arguably we can put rovers up on Mars and things like that, and we still really can't conquer these diseases. I think money's going the wrong place. I really do. But I'm not a politician. I don't get into all that stuff. So we come down, Lady Blah Blah. I like that. Big welcome to Lady Blah Blah. We got Cosmos Kramer in there. Goodbye, people die. Boo-hoo, never mind, life goes on. It does go on. However, when you put yourself in the shoes of Fernando's family or anyone's family who loses somebody, it stops being something that you can just kind of gloss over. So it says, just a guy is going to be 43 next month. Mr. Golden V, R.I.P. Ricksen, absolutely. Fredo, okay, I lost my dad. Now give me 5 minutes, folks, or not even 5 minutes, 2 minutes, right? Because Anne's just come in from work. So give me 2 minutes and I'll be right back, okay? Folks, I got to get the priorities right. As much as I love each and every one of you out there, I do not want to risk the shoe. All right, so we're back. We're ready to get back into this. And I was in the chat room. I was chilling out with people in there. We'll see who else has sneaked into the chat room while I have been away. And remember, if you want to support the stream, but you don't have to, consider a super chat. You can join the channel. You can unlock the shoe amongst many other emojis. There's a link for PayPal as well, and we do love the PayPal link, hint, hint. But I'm only joking, folks. If you can, support the stream. If not, we'll still be here. Everything is good, and the links will be dropped in the chat room by some of the mods and our STREAMLABS bot. Yes, I've got the bot. I'm taking advantage of the AI, folks. Talk about it enough. I might as well have an AI bot on here, right? So we go back into the chat room. Fred Doe, he says he lost his dad to motor neurons. Very, very sad indeed. Scrolling down here, we've got 7776. Well said, Kev. Thank you. Brother, sister, I don't know what you are. I don't want to offend. You know what I'm like. I'm very gender inclusive, right? We keep scrolling down. That's a really nice touch from a Celtic fan. Fair play. Tony, I know you're going to get idiots out there that will go the other way and they'll use this for making fun and poking abuse at the other. It's just sick, dude. Sick. And these people on either side, anyone that does that's not a true football fan. They're just hiding behind football and using that as a vehicle for their hate. That's all it is, dude. We've got Billy Joe in there. Wow. Welcome back, Billy Joe. We've not seen you for a while. Says, same year I was born. Yeah. It's terrible, totally terrible. Sad indeed by Dead GPK. I've got a clip from you today, Dead. We're going to get into that in a moment. We've got Cosmos Kramer in there. Not really. If MI6 need a female to infuriate the enemy. I don't know where that came from. Lady Blah Blah, as a Dutch, I say thanks, Kev. Hey, what a player he was, honestly. Dutch people, Dutch players as well, they seem to get on really well over here. I think, similarities. Both friendly sets of people, I suppose, and the Dutch football fans, oh, wow. So we've got Chuck Bam Bam. Kev, why are your jaws so fat in your creepy face graphics? I have no idea. Might be the cartoon effect that I used at the time. Just guessing. I don't know. Hit that like button, says Dead GPK, and I say that as well. It's fill in quickly. Good afternoon, the tree mistress. Good afternoon to you. Brett Munson in there. We've got Golden V again. Scrolling down. Can't seem to find to catch any of the live shows lately. Billy, I get it. I totally get it. Time's speeding up. Some days time slows down. But every day seems to be hectic. One thing after the other. After the other. It wasn't like this when I was younger. Definitely wasn't. I'm starting to sound like one of these old dudes. We've got Joe Ford in there. Big shout out to Joe Ford. Michelle Miller. Lisa in there as well. And the STREAMLABS bot. So that's a good... another 76er. Who was all born in 76 in here? So I'm guessing Billy Joe, if it was the same year as Fernando. We've got Just a Guy. We've got Fred. 76 seems to have been a good year, folks. Anne, 76 as well. Yeah, there was definitely some good DNA. There must have been a lot of loving going on at the end of 75, into early 76. Very pretty, Anne, yes. She's got one of these crazy bracelets that you change things around on. All I can say is, I'm glad it's the shoe I get and not the bracelet. Rubber shoe, metal bracelet. Not good. All these monitors as well. We can't be having shenanigans like that. But let's get into our first story of the day. And you kind of got a taste on it. And that's a really bad pun to use. Again, this is one of those stories that fits into the category of when did this even become a thing? Just when did this become a thing? And like I was saying, I don't know what we're going to have for dinner tonight anymore, Anne, because there's a new ban on eating cats and dogs in the UK, but it's been blocked by the government. Well, exactly. I didn't realise we were allowed to in the first place. And even if we were, I didn't realise it was a thing, right? And I feel really bad looking round at Susie right now. I mean, who out there's ever looked at their cat and thought, or their dog and thought, I can't be bothered going to the store tonight. Well, Fido, well, Susie, it's time to go into the pot. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Not in civilised UK, right? But let's see what it says here from Unilad. And I like Unilad. Some things I laugh at. Some things trigger me in this as well. Like this here. Merriam-Webster dictionary adds they. The non-binary pronoun. Leave the language alone. Stop it. Right? But we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry about it. So a new ban on eating dogs and cats in the UK is blocked by the government. You know it's because we're scared in case we offend people, right? You know that's what it's going to be. You know it. A ban on eating dog and cat meat in the UK has reportedly been blocked by the UK government out of fear of being culturally insensitive towards Southeast Asian nations. Well, God forbid we offend anyone with our unwillingness, our desire not to eat our household pets. You know, those little furry creatures that become one of the family. I mean, I'm sorry if that offends people out there. Deal with it. I actually get more offended at the fact there are people out there eating cats and dogs. But hey, don't accuse me of being culturally insensitive or anything like that. God forbid. I wouldn't want to be labelled with that kind of badge for the rest of my life, right? How would I sleep at night? God, this world is infuriating. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people are dining on cats and dogs in the UK happily every day. And who the hell am I to talk about it? So hats off to the ministers for not banning this, right? Says here, ministers have drawn up a new criminal offence procedure for the possession of dog and cat meat in Britain, with former Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs Secretary Michael Gove ordering the ban earlier this year, despite the practice being rare in the UK. So here's what David Icke would describe as a non-problem reaction solution. You know, the fact that the government are talking about eating cats and dogs in the first place, this is designed to provoke the kind of response I'm having. That kind of outrage at the mere thought of cats and dogs being eaten. And then the government are going to come up with something out their sleeve, you know, some sanction against a country they want to sanction and they couldn't have done beforehand. I don't know. I'm a suspicious bugger, all right? But this is just weird, especially since it was never really a problem to begin with. Usually you create laws for something that's starting to rear its ugly head and it's becoming a problem, not something that's rarely ever dealt with, right? But we continue. However, the Ministry of Justice, just us, has reportedly blocked the ruling, saying it would be culturally insensitive of the government to tell other nations what they can and can't eat. According to The Sun, animal welfare groups persuaded Gove to match a similar law regarding dog and cat meat in the US, saying it would send a powerful message to countries where the practice is still popular. Why do I think that, you know, the countries where this is popular, they're not going to give two hoots what somebody like Michael Gove has to say about their culinary delights, okay? I hate that word. Dinner, food, far easier. I try to make myself sound intelligent and I just butcher it. And we all know I'm not anyway. So you get where I'm coming from here. So it says, however, the Ministry of Justice, which is probably situated next door to the Ministry of Truth, damn, right down from the Department of False Flaggery and Ballbaggery. I'm just saying. It says, however, the Ministry of Justice has stepped in to block the move. MP Giles Waitling, you have to emphasise this, it's in big bold letters, look, it's important. MP Giles Waitling, who was campaigning for the ban, said, dogs are our companion animals. We don't eat them. And that is a very important message to send to the rest of the world. It's not culturally insensitive because we're not telling them what to do. We're just telling them what we do. We shouldn't be worrying about that. So I was surprised at the Ministry of Justice's objection. Exactly. And if we were to have gone to one of these countries and carried out a survey of 1,000 people that do eat cats and dogs, would they even have known what the UK says about their eating habits? Do they even care what we have to say? And let alone, do they care what we eat? This is another, like I say, this is a non-problem. So officials from the Ministry of Justice also argued it would be difficult to implement and enforce the new ban, as the current law against transporting or exporting dog meat and cat meat already imposes restrictions on the practice. We've got Germany, Australia, Taiwan, South Australia and Hong Kong have already banned consuming dog meat. That isn't for eating. No, what's wrong with people? So it says, despite various regions in Southeast Asia banning the farming and consumption of dog meat, the Busan dog meat market being shut down for good, an estimated 30 million dogs are killed a year for food across China, the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia. Utterly shocking. But again, listen, I'm not from there. Obviously, my opinion is it's unacceptable what they're doing to animals. But again, I'm not from there. And I'm just glad we're not doing that over here, okay? But for us to be like, for it to become even a thing, like I've been saying, is it even important? Aren't there more important things in the world that we could be dealing with right now than, you know, think tanks and committees and steering groups working over the wording of this document? Not a strongly worded document like Joe Joseph refers to, but a culturally sensitive document. The world's gone mad. The world has gone mad. When did this even become a thing? So I'm going to go into the chat room, see what you people think. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some of you do like have dog and potatoes or, I don't know, cat pie. Try to think what else there could be. Maybe you could have like, I can't even think of it because it just disgusts me. It grosses me out. But again, I'm not from there. I've never lost any sleep. I've never really woke up in the morning and thought to myself, we really need to send a strongly worded letter to those people eating cats and dogs out in Asia. I don't know. I'll go to the chat room. It says, Fred Doe, I was once waiting for my takeaway in a Chinese restaurant when I heard a cat screaming in the kitchen. Doe, didn't tell the others until after dinner. I've heard of horror stories like that as well. Inverness, I remember one. What is it? I don't even want to think about it. I'm not a big Chinese food fan, thankfully. It's not like I've ate thousands over the years where it leaves me with that kind of thought, didn't I? But no, it's not for me. It should never be a thing. Somebody says, is haggis neeps and peeps? Who knows? Haggis is made with a traditional haggis is made with the lining of a sheep's stomach. The offal, you've got oatmeal in there, you've got spices. And let me tell you, folks, it is one of the most delicious dishes in the world. Again, sounds disgusting. If I was to go and start trying to cook that up over in Asia, I might offend people over there. But I'm not in Asia. What they do with their food's their thing. What I do with my haggis is my thing, okay? And I bring you the news like a hairy haggis out of hell, remember? That's my new kind of stick over on stick on TFR. Anne was looking at me there to say, what the hell? I'm the hairy haggis out of hell, Anne. That's what it is. So then, Billy Joe. Now, there's a dog that I like to eat. A hot dog. Yep, grilled hot dogs. Queen Goddess, I have no words. Now we know what vegans think about meat, and that's Jason Merritt. True. Kristen says, not a chicken fan. Oh, come on. Everyone loves chicken, right? As long as it's not blue. Sid, never tried it, but I bet it would not taste difference between that and similar sized meat. You're probably right. And I know people say that even human flesh, they say, I've never eaten it, folks, but I'm told. You know how I hang out with cannibals and stuff like that. Documentaries I've heard, right? I have to face value in this. But it's the humans meant to taste like a cross between chicken and pork. I don't know. Meat's meat, I suppose, right? And if you didn't know where it was coming from, dang, I don't even want to think about it. We scroll on down. It says the Aborigines in Australia eat cat on a daily basis, but they are considered an invasive species. Feral cat population is out of control. You see, that's why I don't really get involved in what other countries do when it comes to their animals. I don't understand some of the things that go on in these countries. And like you've explained there, again, just because I don't think cats should be eaten doesn't mean that, other parts of the world where things are going on, each to their own, right? Each to their own. Make of that what you will. And even if I did have something against people eating cats over there, what can I do about it? Our own government are worried about writing a strongly worded letter to them. It's a non-problem, isn't it? It just happens. So we scroll down. Somebody says they don't discriminate. What can we say if Western countries eat rodents, a.k.a. rabbit? I've had rabbit. Exactly. What can we say? People are going to get offended somewhere in the world at another country's traditional dishes for some reason or another. Again, what's it matter? And we've got chow mein in there. I'm getting hungry just reading these. You never know what you eat in the end unless you kill it yourself. And that's a very true statement. That is a very true statement. I know people will say about hunting's bad and things, but like Fred was saying there, unless you're going out there from the start of the process to the minute it's hitting your plate after it's been cooked and everything, then you truly don't know what you're eating. And I mean, look at the way they treat animals anyway that we do eat, at some of these farms and things like that. Not all of them. Some of these places, they love their animals. They look after them the best they can. But then there's other places, these big kind of factory ones. Dang, all the chemicals they're putting in there. That's probably more of a problem to people in the UK than what people over in Southeast Asia are eating. I would imagine. No, just saying. So then, we're about to move on, folks. Because although we were talking about eating cats and dogs, I'm still made myself quite relatively hungry there. Not wanting cat, not wanting dog. Susie's quite safe. I'm sure your pets are safe as well. And when we come back from this very briefest of intermissions, we're going to dial up the woo. Yeah, it's time to get into the woo. And I want to thank Annabelle over on the Discord server for this woo. I'd brought up one of these stories the other day, and it's a story about creepy dolls. But there's been an update on it. And of course, me being me and all of you in the chat room being all of you, I'm sure we'll be able to use this as a platform, a springboard into even deeper woo. I've got some woo coming up from Fred as well. You see, I'm trying to do it off the top of my head here. Fred dropped a link about a very mysterious place. That's going to be coming up on the show. And it just wouldn't be the KBS stream if at one point we didn't get into some dumb criminals. And I don't have one dumb criminal for you today. No, I don't even have two. We have got 3 dumb criminals coming up right here in the safe space. And when there's people eating cats and dogs and things like that, isn't the safe space one of the best ideas that I ever had? I think so. But I'll be back with creepy dolls. So we are back, ladies and gents. What am I calling you lot ladies and gents for out there? This is the safe space. We don't do titles like that. I'm only joking. I'm sure you are ladies, gentlemen, theys, it's, he, she's, cats, dogs, whatever else people identify these days, right? Okay, I'm getting silly now. I'm getting silly. That's because we're getting into the good stuff. The woo, as I like to call it. And of course, the Discord server is proving to be like a repository of some of the best woo in the world. And some of that woo I've already spoke about on the show. We had the Men in Black yesterday. I was covering all of that. That came from in the Discord server. And today we are going to be talking about Annabelle. Oh yes. Turn down the lights, close the curtains. Could you get creepy in here? Real life haunted dolls to disturb your dreams. We examine the history of some real life allegedly haunted dolls, including Annabelle from the Conjuring universe. Indeed. So let's see what it's got to say here. It says dolls are great companions for tea parties, sleepovers, adventures, and more. No, they're not. Let me tell you right now, and it's not because I'm a toxic male, but I find dolls, especially older dolls, see the ones with like the porcelain faces and the paint start to crack a little bit, and they've got the frilly dresses and that on. There is something utterly terrifying about them, and there doesn't have to be any stories attached to them. They don't have to look as creepy as this thing here. They don't need to look like that. Just these dolls, I don't know what it is, okay? I know I'm not the only person. I might sound like a total fool telling you this, but you get to see it all here. I wear my woo on my sleeve. I truly do. I don't care what people think of me. Have at it. Dolls scare me, all right? So it says here, for many people, they're also creepy toys that watch you sleep and popular vessels for demonic possession. See, now there it is. There it is. And it could be the programming that we've had from Hollywood. I get that. Many's a creepy doll has turned up in a horror movie. Maybe we are the ones that think that they can be inhabited by the demonic forces, right? Maybe we're conjuring that up ourselves. But I don't think so. I literally do think that these things are able to indwell, inhabit, take over, possess these inanimate, usually inanimate objects. So it says basically they're homicidal effigies made from stuffing or porcelain. Unsurprisingly, the Talkie Tina from the Twilight Zone fame to Fats from Magic, and the clown from Poltergeist to Chunky in Child's Play, and Annabelle in the Conjuring universe, dolls have long been go-to monsters in paranormal pop culture. But millennia before Talkie Tina told Telly Savalas, "I don't think I like you," dolls have existed, going back to ancient Egypt and Rome. Present in nearly every culture, they were placed as servants in a pharaoh's tomb. You see, that's creepy as well. My creep factor with dolls is not unfounded. I'm liking this article already. So it says, were said to aid in fertility, teach a child how to parent, or be a listener to tell all your worries to. Now, they could as much be items of art or religious significance as a child's plaything. Why, then, are they so damn scary? Well, it turns out there's a scientific reason and a paranormal one. Now, this is the kind of woo that we're talking about, right? So if you want to drop stories like this, if you think to yourself, I've got stuff that Kev would love, people would love to hear this, go to the Discord server, folks. Email me, kbsdiscord@protonmail.com. That's kbsdiscord@protonmail.com. So let's get back to it here. It says Dr. Margie Kerr, a sociologist who specializes in fear, says that while our childhood experiences with dolls may have been a source of joy or comfort or even safety, seeing dolls out of context can freak us out as an ultimate betrayal of innocence. It's a good way of looking at it. Fear can be understood as a measure of the distance between what we expect and what we experience. And if a doll is too lifelike and our brain can't figure out if it's a human or a toy, that can generate a powerful sense of unease, Kerr says. This dissonance turns to fear as the doll moves further away from what we expect. The object that brought joy and comfort now trying to kill us. That's a really cool way and really kind of powerful way of describing why we have this fear of dolls. I'm liking how this Margie thinks here. Beyond the psychological explanation, there's also a supernatural connection to dolls. I knew it. According to author and paranormal researcher Rosemary Ellen Gilly, and I think unfortunately she just passed away recently. I think she did. Dolls have historically served as links to the spirit world and afterlife and as conduits of magic. When was this story written? June 21st? I'll check that. I think so. There's something sticks in my mind, folks. Throughout history, dolls have been made to attract and house spirits that can be summoned forth in a ritual. She adds that they top the list of things most likely to have residual haunting attachments, which is supposed to be a ghostly energy imprint that plays over and over like a scratched record. Now, Gilly notes many reasons for this, including the sheer proliferation of dolls throughout the ages, and the simple fact that some people have likely owned one at some point. Now, another reason is that dolls replicate people, Gilly says. Dolls, even funny dolls, are representative of human beings. In a child's play, they substitute for a living person and even take on a persona of their own. As a result, Gilly said people invest a lot of emotional energy in dolls. even if they are adult collectors. People that are adults that collect dolls, again, this applies to men or women. If you meet somebody attractive that you're having a nice night out with, maybe first date, third date, you go home and you enter a room full of dolls, run, Uber, get me out of there. There's something wrong with these people, folks. I'm telling you, I've watched enough of these documentaries, remember? I know the signs. I'm like Forensic Kev when it comes to these potential bad guys and bad women and 100 other genders out there to keep everybody included. So it says, what is done to the doll... Oh, sorry, I've gone too far there. Gone too far. As a result, Gilly said people invest a lot of emotional energy in dolls, even if they are adult collectors. So thus suggests that because dolls replicate people and are believed to have energetic links to the living, they can be used in sympathetic magic. What is done to the doll is done to the person. Ooga booga. Oh man, we're getting into voodoo type stuff here. If you're not creeped out just yet, also consider that Gully's point that the more objects are handled, the more they can absorb psychic and emotional energy from people. And that energy builds up enough to create a haunting residue, which can be experienced by others after the doll has passed to new owners. Now, we often talk about how children, their minds are so much more pure, so much more unprogrammed than the adult minds. And they do seem to give off another energy. It's like a far more powerful consciousness. It's weird that we start off with like this super consciousness and then it almost regresses as we get older as opposed to getting better. But perhaps that's what leaves spiritual fingerprints, spiritual imprints on these objects. You can imagine some children, maybe, parents arguing, something like that. Maybe the girl goes, speaks to the doll, that fear vibe, that energy, that is somehow transferred to this object. I don't know. I'm just trying to think why this may happen. And of course, if it is some kind of device, unwittingly, the person who built dolls, I'm not saying you're building them for this purpose, but say it does store, like a capacitor stores energy, then maybe that's why we see them also being the subject of like possessions or things taking over them, the ooga boogas. And why is it ooga boogas? And I don't care, they say statistically it's not a thing. It seems to me that ooga boogas go for young girls more than young boys. I just mean in hauntings. I don't mean anything nefarious like that, but hauntings, poltergeist activity, possessions, seems to me like it's more swung towards the women, the female side of things. Make of that what you will, okay? Everyone's going to have their own interpretation of that. So, let's see here. We'll read the rest of this. It says, if you're not creeped out just yet, also, I think we've done that. Here we have. Spirits that lodge in the dolls may not be deliberately attached. Spirits who are attracted to the living, in certain cases, latch onto possessions a person has. Dolls are the most likely candidates. People who acquire haunted dolls often find the poltergeist phenomena around them unpleasant and unsettling, such as disembodied voices. Oh, that was creepy one, that, right? Poor Anne. I know, Anne, I know, I'm in funny mode today, or silly mode. Dolls that can change position or locations on their own, and outbreaks of other phenomenon in the household. I tell you what though, Anne, can you imagine your doll ever had started making a noise like that? Oof, that'd be terrifying. Why does that not surprise me? Did you have footballs, Anne? Anne had footballs, she doesn't have dolls. There we go. So it says here, so if you're now ready to sleep with the lights on, I thought it was going to say, so if right now you're ready to go and sleep with a doll, what kind of sick pervert do you think I am? After all this horrific stuff, you think I'd get my rocks off with one of these things? You see, that's how my mind's broken. I'm a flawed individual, folks, I am. So if you're now ready to sleep with the lights on, while keeping your eyes locked on that antique porcelain doll on the shelf, has its head always been slightly turned like that? Read ahead for the scariest real-life dolls that allegedly bring evil to playtime. So let's scroll down here. Let's see what some of these dolls are. We've got Annabelle from The Conjuring. I'm sure most people have seen The Conjuring, right? And it's terrifying. So we scroll down more because we've got more stories to get to here, folks. We've got more stories to get to. We've got Robert the doll. I've never heard of Robert the doll. I don't like Robert the doll already. He's got that kind of dressed up crash test dummy look to him. What's that? Crash test dummies as well. Creepy things, right? Creepy things. Says before Annabelle made her big screen debut in The Conjuring, Robert was the most famous doll out there. The doll looks almost like Simeon the human, with black beady eyes. Oh, he's a black-eyed child. He's a black-eyed doll. Tiny distressed cuts on his face, a peculiar grin, and wearing a little sailor outfit likely originally worn by his owner, Robert Eugene Otto of Key West, Florida. Now, Robert the doll's story goes back to 1904, when the real Robert, a boy who went by Gene, acquired it from his grandfather, who recently returned from a trip to Germany. Now, manufactured by the Steiff Company, German dolls are worth a fortune, folks. I've seen that in Pawn Stars. Which made the first teddy bear, the wood wool stuffed life-size doll, was possibly intended as more of a display mannequin. Though some say a maid to the Otto family gave Jean the doll, imbued with voodoo magic. Robert was a constant companion for Jean, and it was accused by the boy of various misdeeds and mysterious movements by the boy. Toys might be mutilated, furniture overturned, and eerie giggles might be heard throughout the Otto home, and Jean always placed the blame on Robert. So, was the little Robert the doll, was he a straw man? Was he the fall guy? Was he the patsy for this naughty, boisterous little lad? We'll read on. We will find out. As he grew older, Jean became an artist, and his inherited home was known as the Artist House. There, Robert would be perched in a window on the second-floor turret room, where people claimed he may change position. Now, after Jean died in 1974, Myrtle Reuter purchased the home, and Robert came with it. She said the doll would move on its own, giggle, and change expressions should anyone disparage Jean. Now, in 1994, Reuter donated the doll to Fort East Martello Museum, the gallery of which was designed by Jean. Even before Robert became an attraction, he began attracting visitors who had heard of him. Now kept in a glass display, Robert lives at the museum, still where people claim to be cursed by him should they insult him or take his photo without asking for permission. I'm laughing, not because I find it funny, but because it's scary. I mean, now I'm thinking to myself, have I ever wronged any of these dolls that I've come across in my time here on the planet? Like, my mum's got a China doll, right? I've kind of laughed at it. I've called it spooky. I mean, has that doll been clocking at all? Has it been ooga booga? Maybe I need to tell Bill Bean about this. Maybe it's the doll that's been after me. I don't know. The doll is also credited for interfering with electronic devices. The doll is thus a bit of a celebrity, receiving about 3 letters a day that range from apologies for bad behaviour towards him to letters asking for advice. Now, I get people maybe think to themselves, damn, I didn't realise that Robert the doll could pick up on what I was saying about him. Maybe, just maybe, on the off chance I'm going to get some bad juju here, I'm going to write him an apology. I get that. But who in their right mind is writing to a doll for advice? It's not like it's got a backstory of giving people advice, right? Not that I know of, anyway. See, what's wrong with people? When did this become a thing? Writing to spooky dolls for advice. I take it that's one stage away from marrying a serial killer, isn't it? Remember we spoke about them on the show before, these women that fall in love with crazies in prison. you're one step away. If you're writing to like supernatural dolls for advice, I think you're on your road to a jailhouse wedding. But it says Robert is said to be a fan of sweets as well. And some people send candy. Interestingly, Robert the doll sits with his own doll, a dog with a gaping mouth that resembles the "this is fine" meme. Now, whether Robert is cursed with voodoo or somehow inhabits the energies of his former owner and lifelong friend, or even if he's just an old doll with a creepy story, you can find out for yourself by visiting him at the Fort East Martello Museum. Just err on the side of caution and be polite to him. Oh, you better believe it. I don't think anyone that's heard this, and if you ever come into contact with Robert the doll for any reason, I don't think any of us will be laughing at Robert at all. So Ruby, I've got an anti-Ruby. Ruby the haunted doll. Never heard of this one either. Dana and Greg Newkirk's travelling museum of the paranormal and occult have an extensive collection of supposedly haunted and definitely creepy objects worth seeing. Among them is Ruby the haunted doll, a porcelain paint and fabric doll from the early 1900s that originated in southern Ontario. Now, according to the museum's description, Ruby spent decades in attics and basements as she was passed along by people who wanted nothing to do with her. Now, the Newkirks report that previous owners came to believe she is still the possession of a young girl who died while holding the doll. Now, we've got incoming, coming in a second, incoming from Brian in the chat room. See if we can get through one more here. Like the other doll listed here, Ruby, or the other dolls, Ruby is said to be able to move on her own. But what makes her especially interesting?
Coffee cup for Kev. Go 76ers, and stay away from dog meat, guys.
Sidvich, absolutely, man. Can't thank you enough, brother. And that'll keep me off the dog food this week. If you want to keep me, Anne, and Kevin off the dog food, all you've got to do is do what Sidvich done there. Hit the super chat. And we'll be much appreciated. I can't go another week on dog food. Don't leave me another week on dog food, folks. I'm only joking. Thank you very much, brother. Let's get back to these crazy dolls. Says the Para Museum's Ruby exhibits is not necessarily threatening or evil as associated with other dolls on this list. But if you do get to check out the travelling museum, and you most certainly should, you can say hello to Ruby before hanging out with famous idol of nightmares, Billy. That's like, how many more have we got to go here? We've got a couple. We've got 3 more to go. I don't think we're going to get through all of today's shows, folks, all of today's stories. I really don't. And I'm liking the dolls here. But we've got, is this the next one? Yeah. Peggy. So as far as haunted dolls go, Peggy looks fairly mundane with blue eyes and a blonde bob. But she still might make you sick. Something of an interesting sensation. Peggy was owned by a British investigator, Jane Harris, of haunted dolls, and has been reported to cause nausea, dizziness, headaches, and even, or perhaps even heart attacks in those that simply see her photo. Well, I won't be bringing her photo back up on the screen now. I'm not that daft. And yeah, I am that superstitious. I don't want to trigger some illness in people. Says those that encounter her might even go mad. Now, Harris came into possession of Peggy courtesy the previous owners who said the doll was causing bad dreams, and mediums who have visited the doll have claimed she is inhabited by a spirit persecuted in life, possibly with ties to the Holocaust. Oh dear. Harris and her team came to believe Peggy's spirit is a woman from 1946 in London who died of an illness that ailed her chest. Now, the woman also apparently hated clowns, which is ironic for a ghost inhabiting a doll. And then we scroll down, it says, apparently in order to avoid Having too much information out there about her, Peggy also made Harris's notebook go missing following a seance. More recently, Peggy was acquired by Zach Bagans of Ghost Adventures. Now he's got a haunted museum, who is displaying the doll at his haunted museum in Las Vegas. Now Bagans said Peggy has affected him more than Robert the doll, claiming a typewriter began typing on its own during a seance with Peggy. He added that since taking over ownership, Peggy has manifested flies and poltergeist activity. To view it at his museum, he requires visitors to sign a waiver, which is either a great safety measure or a brilliant publicity stunt, and I would say both. I would honestly say both. News alert, hang on. Nothing exciting. Politics, crap. Harold, whether or not it is factually correct, Harold the doll has the reputation for being the first of many haunted dolls to be sold on eBay in 2003. His auction earned him media attention and later an appearance on Ghost Adventures. Zach Bagans hates dolls, but it's also good television to feature allegedly haunted dolls on a ghost show. Not true. The initial story behind the badly worn doll is that he belonged to the young son of a Florida man who passed away in his 1940s. Dang, that dude was old. In the 1940s. Now, when the son died, I'm still picturing a dude that's nearly 2,000 years old. Just a guy. Brilliant.
I have the urge to punch doll number 3 in the face. That thing is way to all my chat peeps. Smoke Mifia Gotum.
Oh,
brown
brilliant.
chicken, brown cow.
Brilliant. And Brian obviously gets offended by the word creepy. Did you notice he missed out creepy there? I have no idea where that was, right? But if you want to punch any of the dolls in the face, folks, all you got to do is consider a little super chat, and I'll let you punch the dolls, right? We can have a doll punching competition. And I bet you, I'm joking, but wouldn't surprise me if maybe we offended somebody out there. All this violent talk aimed at these dolls. Maybe people identify as a doll. I don't know. That would make more sense to me than a vampire. I'm just saying. So it says here, the initial story behind the badly worn doll is that he belonged to the son of a Florida man who had passed away in the 1940s. I got it right that time. When the son died, the man and his wife reported hearing crying, and singing from the boy's bedroom. Who sang that song again, crying? Patsy Cline, was it? I think so. A priest advised him to burn the doll, but it wouldn't burn. So the man kept it in his shed for about 60 years, allegedly. And then the original eBay seller put Haunted Harold up for sale after blaming the doll for his cat dying and losing his girlfriend to the pool man 2 days after buying it off the man. Now, it must be true, right? It's on the internet. It must be true. Come on, you can't be kidding me. After being purchased for $300, Harold was passed along from one owner to the next. And well, poor Harold. And some believed he caused misfortune everywhere he went. Noises were heard, and occasionally it would seem Harold's expression had shifted to a smile. He was left in a shed for 60 years. I'd be smiling too if somebody had a bit of misfortune. According to the Ghost Adventures episode, a friend of one of the two owners developed a brain tumour shortly after visiting Harold. Anthony Quinata purchased the doll in 2004 and said there were souls imprisoned in and by the doll. He chronicled attacks by Harold on him and others in a book about his time with the doll. Now that's weird. Now I'm not liking the look of this next one. Letta. The story of Letta is one of those that, if only portions of it are true, it's damn creepy. They're the kind of stories I do like. Owner Kerry Walton said he discovered the doll in the 1970s. At least I didn't think he was like in his 1970s, right? Under the floorboards of an abandoned house that he was scavenging in Wagga Wagga, New South Wales. Only in Australia do you get a place called Wagga Wagga. So, wooden and with glass eyes, the doll was put in his trunk. Walton then proceeded to drive home until, that is, he heard movement and the howl of, "Let me outa, let me outa here." Was it Italian? "Let me outa here." Hence the name Letta was born. Now, upon bringing Letta home, Walton said his children were terrified of it and said they heard it talking to itself and moving on its own. Also, dogs apparently acted aggressively towards it. Now, there it is. If the animals are getting bad vibes of some creepy doll, get it out of your house. Get it out right away. There's no good story starts with a creepy doll in your house that scares animals. Get rid of it. So it says, also, dogs apparently acted aggressively. Those who encountered Letta may have vivid nightmares or feel nauseous. Plus, Walton suggested Letta walks around at night. Now, when he had it examined, Walton claimed that Letta dated back 200 years, made from real human hair by Eastern European gypsies. Oh my, what are we dealing with here? And it was supposedly haunted by a restless spirit of a drowned boy. Unsurprisingly, Letta made the television rounds and became a famously haunted doll, and Walton has vowed not to get rid of it, despite the inky cloud of dread and anxiousness hanging around it. Then again, he does travel with the doll and charges for photographs with it. Well, I don't care what the story is attached to that thing, but can I punch that one in the face? That one definitely not good. Not good, folks. So I'm going to get a quick drink of my coffee and I will be right back with you. Dear, oh dearie me, creepy dolls? How did we end up here? I've no idea. Okay, I'm back, folks. I'm back. Multitasking here. I've got the dinner on, you know. No, it's not cat stew. It's not dog stew. It's beef stew. Call me old-fashioned, but contrary to what people might be thinking about the UK nowadays, we ain't all eating dogs. For anyone turning up new to the stream, what the hell is Kev talking about? Well, I'm talking about that story that we kicked off today's show. A new ban on eating dogs and cats in the UK blocked by the government. Then we moved on to the creepy dolls. Annabelle, Harold, all that good stuff. And now, there was a video with some of the creepiest dolls as well, but we're pressed for time here, folks. We're going to move on. And one of the other more interesting topics that I have come across on my time, you know, listening to shows, things like that. Somebody in the chat room, Susie from Wales, says, I hate ventriloquist dolls. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Yes, let us not forget them. They are creepy. Also, hand puppets. I don't know why. Hand puppets, not good as well. And, again, it falls into my category of, if you're going home for a bit of romancing with somebody, of the fairer sex, of the hairier sex, whoever you go home with, one, two, multiple, I don't care. But if they've got dolls that you can stick your hand up inside and work, and they offer you like some kind of crazy ventriloquist show before you go to bed, just get out of there. Pick a window. It doesn't matter how many stories up you are, just jump, because the fate is going to be worse if you stay there any longer than you already have been, right? So then, we'll go back to the chat room in a bit. It says, Anonymous Doomer, 23 years old, and I have been targeted and attacked with synthetic telepathy for 3 years now. Started while I was living in the US, and I'm no longer in the US. And more and more people have stories like that, Anonymous. More and more people do. Now then, let's move on then to this other story that Fred brought today to the Discord server. I say today, it might have been last night. But if we go here and somebody says, that sounds like my date last night. Lisa, you see, like I've been saying, you know, if you go back to somebody's house for some, you know, lovins, you don't want to be seeing dolls in the bedroom. You don't want to be seeing hand puppets. You don't want to be seeing... you definitely don't want to see their mum sitting there as well if they're like a grown adult and things. That's another creepy one. But yeah, ventriloquist dummies too. And big train sets, train spotters. You don't want to be ending up with these people. Stamp collectors as well. Throw them under the bus while I'm here. People out there be like, but I collect stamps and I've got train sets. I'm only joking. It's a joke, man. But this is a mystery one. This is a head scratcher. And one of the things that really have, still to this day, puzzles me, intrigues me, is the work of David Paulides, or Paulides. And he does the Missing 411 series where people go missing all the time and just inexplicable cases. People go missing here and turn up across the country, and it's just weird stuff, right? And he's also started looking at not just national parks, but urban areas and stuff like that now as well. It's a massive phenomenon, right? But this here is from Fred in the chat room, and it's to do with the Untersberg Mountains. Now, before we get into the Untersberg Mountains, I had to go and check what this was. And luckily, Fred had dropped this in there as well. And the Untersberg Mountain is the northmost, or the northernmost massif of the Berchtesgaden Alps, a prominent spur straddling the border between Berchtesgaden in Germany and Salzburg in Austria. Now, the highest peak of the tabletop mountain is the Berchtesgaden Hochthrone, and that is 1,973 metres over near enough 6,500 feet, okay? So this area here, if we come back to this story, says, and this is where it gets pretty cool, I'll blow this up a bit, hopefully you can see it. It said that hundreds of people have gone missing around the Untersberg Mountain on the border of Germany and Austria. Now, apparently, in 1987, 3 people entered the cave system of the mountain on an exploration and did not return. Police and mountaineers searched for them, and the only trace they found was their car parked nearby. Now, this immediately already has similarities to the Missing 411 stuff, right? Big time. Life went on. 3 months later, the relatives of the missing people received a phone call. It was the missing people. They found themselves on a ship in the Red Sea that was nearly at Alexandria in Egypt. Now, we're going back to 1987 here, folks. They have no recollection of what happened to them once they entered the mountain and how they got where they were, how 3 months had passed, etc. They claimed they must have time jumped and that all they could assume was that there was some kind of portal in the cave system of the mountain. Holy shimoly. And Armand in the chat room says, a lot of it is portals. I seen one in Epping Forest. This certainly seems to be one of these portal type places, that's for sure, Armand. And it says here, they found their way to the German consulate in Alexandria and eventually made their way home to Munich. Now, it was when they returned home that they changed their story creating an elaborate tale on where they had been and why. I guess both tales they told were elaborate, really. They advised that did not go into the mountain caves at all. Instead, they left their car there, walked to the train station, and took a train to Salzburg and Villach in Austria. Now, as they had left their passports behind, and when they mistakenly passed the Austria-Yugoslavia border, they panicked. Afraid of authorities, they got on a ship and journeyed on the Red Sea and Indian Ocean. So basically, they travelled through 6 countries on foot with no passports. Now, give me 2 seconds, folks, 2 seconds. There we go, we're back. Let me see. Got tangled up there. So it says then, history buffs may also recognise the name of the mountain, as Hitler had a house close by, his mountain getaway, which had a stunning view of the mountain. Big time. I know what we're talking about now. Famous photographs of him up there with them. Eva Braun, I think it is. So it says the Dalai Lama calls the mountain the sleeping dragon. There is a myth which tells of time portals. Lost people, my ancestors, dwarf-like mountain dwellers, too, are responsible for the cave system. Now, there are other legends of missing people. One states that in 1738, a hunter by the name of Michael Halsogger went missing only to appear at his own memorial a year to the day after his disappearance. Now, apparently, this was reported in the Farmer's Almanac for that year. Legend continues that he only confessed what had happened to him to one person, and that person was Archbishop Furman of Salzburg. Apparently, the Archbishop resigned his position after hearing what Michael had to say. Wow. I wonder what it was he did have to tell him. I wonder what actually happened. What was it that made this Archbishop, on hearing this story, why did he decide, woof, I'm out of here, no more? Another legend is that an entire wedding party, including the band, disappeared for 100 years only to re-emerge unchanged. Reports of missing people in the area continue to this day, gives a whole new meaning to the hills are alive. Well, Freddo, I thank you for this one. This is somewhere I'm going to look more into. This is like Freaky Friday stuff right here. But mountains, you got Mount Shasta over in the US. People say that's got portals in it. Stargates, like Armand was saying as well. Forests as well as mountains. They're renowned for these portals, these anomalies that lead to time slips and people blinking in and out of reality, and who knows what else. Is that how things like the Sasquatch come and go? Loch Ness Monster? Things like that? I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. Nobody knows. But there's something about mountains, there is. And over in the Himalayas as well, you had the bad guys from World War II. They sent one of their crack units out there looking for ancient technology. And one of the stories was there was like a big doorway just carved into one of these mountains, and they were actually thinking about how they could take this home because they believed it was some kind of Stargate. So yeah, mountains, very, very significant, and people in older times, they certainly seemed to know more about what was going on than we do today. And with all of the kind of quartz and the crystals and everything else that you do find in rocks, typically, I mean, it's almost as if they might have some kind of electrical property to them. And if we do live in an electrical universe, like I think we do, then perhaps that does cause rips, tears, portals, doorways, stargates from this dimension into some other one. I'm very open to that. Very, very open to it. But you shouldn't need me to tell you that. You should know that the Kev Baker show is always going to be into deep woo like that, right? So then, let's see where we're going now. We're going to move on rapidly. We've got 3 dumb criminals to come, and then we're out of here, folks. I'm going to get some food after that. Oh, hungry, hungry. No, I'm not barking hungry. I'm just hungry. Don't worry, no animals will be harmed in the making of Kev's dinner. I promise you that. Maybe. And that's the thing, Holly. So if that really happened to the wedding party, did they come back not realizing time had passed? That's the thing. Many people who lose time, they don't realize it until they get back home or until they meet somebody who informs them that not much time has passed. Again, I'm going to talk about that book that you're fed up hearing me talking about. It's the Mothman Prophecies. And it was talking in there about somebody who had some lost time and they'd been taken away on some craft, taken away to another planet, shown around there, taken home, driven home in an old Buick. The drive itself took maybe an hour there and back, let alone traveling to distant parts of our own galaxy to these other planets. And when the guy got home, he expected to find everyone in bed. He was going to have to wake them up, tell them what had happened. But no, because only an hour had passed. It's anomalies like that that make you go, woo. Don't panic, folks, don't panic. No real cows were harmed in the making of my stew. I eat fake cows. You know, fake cows, fake news, fake globe, fake world, fake space. Everything's fake these days, right? Oh, Fred, you're kidding me on, right? Now that there's the universe. You've done something to disturb the balance, brother. I've just been going over your story about the... Oh, now I'm going to have to remember the name of it again, aren't I? Where did you go, story? Where did you go? The Untersberg mountain mystery. That was a really bad attempt at an Austrian-German accent there, but I'll work on it, folks. I'll work on it. Fred, man, we're just saying what a cool place this was. We're thinking it's some kind of naturally occurring stargate, and it puts another slant altogether on why that really, really bad guy from World War II had his evil little castle up on top of it. And when you start to find out the occult connections and the push for occult knowledge by the bad guys in World War II, it does make you wonder if he knew there was something like that there all along. It truly, truly does. But we are going to move and shift gears now. I've already gone past the time I said I would be here today. See you lot out there? You're going to get me in so much trouble. You truly, truly are. But we're back. We're here. We're going to get into some dumb criminals. Yes, that's right, folks. It is time for the dumb criminals. And where's my chat room gone in here? See this pesky chat box thing? I tell you, folks, tell you. There it is, there it is, there it is. Indeed. So what's the chat room saying before we head on over there for some dumb criminals? And man, oh man, have we got some belters for you today. So then we scroll up here. It says, I think I saw another sun next to our sun, Kev. I've got the photos and there's an observatory. Soho Observatory. It's quite scary. Just a heads up. Holly, if it comes to second suns, photographs are no use. Absolutely no use whatsoever. And I'll tell you why. Because lens flares come into play. And there's no way for you to prove it's not a lens flare or anyone out there to prove that it is a lens flare. So what you need to do... Oh, dude, Sid, man.
For the Ansem show and chat room today. It's been so fun. Put this in the 420 jar.
Absolutely. Yeah, so Holly, again, back to the whole kind of taking pictures of second suns. Go for the video. It's far better if you go for a video because that way you can rule out right away, or anyone trying to debunk it can rule out right away if it's an anomaly with a lens flare, some known glitch. And there are known glitch on cameras and things out there. And one channel that I would recommend for, keeping people right on this type of thing would be Dazza the cameraman. Because there's a lot of people online who will post still images and they'll tell you that second suns are out there. But in reality, forget NASA, okay? I know nobody's ever going to trust NASA. Forget governments as well. But if there is a second sun or something incoming to this solar system, do you know who we can trust? We can trust people like us, amateur astronomers. It's one of the few genres, one of the few topics that we really have quite a well-studied and well-educated civilian line of defense, so to speak. Because even if these people in government and all these agencies will lie to us, and we know they lie to us, that's what they do, right? There's nothing stopping amateur astronomers going, by the way, folks, we have got something big incoming here. And as well, you've got to think, if there's a second sun up there, there should be, when this does happen, if it does happen, there's going to be people all around that time zone and then into the next time zone if it's still visible. You're going to be talking about, you haven't seen anything going viral on the internet like you're going to see if that ever did happen, honestly. And if something comes in that quick that it's only there for a day and then gone again the next day, then that doesn't even make astronomical sense. It just doesn't. So there's a lot of talk out there about Nibiru, Wormwood, Planet X, Planet 9, Planet 10, whatever name you want to put on something, an extra planetary body or even, some small planetary system around this thing coming in. Again, I wouldn't trust officialdom. I would I would wait for all the people in the amateur astronomers first. And then once it's visible with the human eye, the game's over at that point. It's here. We're all going to be seeing it, right? In specific parts of the world, obviously. Now, Soho, again, I refer you to Dazza the cameraman, because from time to time there are known glitches that take place on Soho. And I don't know how I got into such a big spiel about this. Do you know why I got into such a big spiel about this? Because at one point I was convinced that the second sun was here, not once, not twice, but 3 or 4 times. And then, nobody else would be talking about it. There'd be one source on the internet covering it. And none of the amateur astronomers out there saying a thing. And it was only over time I realised, this is one of these topics where you have to be really, really, really careful. You've got to scrutinise what's coming in. And again, if it does happen, if some second sun ignites, some planet that we didn't know anything about turns up here, you're going to see the other planets acting weird to begin with, right? And again, it's going to be those amateurs. I keep coming back to that. They're going to be the ones to tell us. Absolutely. And that's not to rubbish what you're saying, Holly, not in the slightest. Please don't think that. I'm just passing on everything I've lived through over what? I mean, I was looking for second sons in the build up to 2012, and there was photographs then doing the rounds. And like I say, when you do the video, if you film the video, it becomes highly, highly obvious if you're looking at a lens flare or not, because what you thought in the still image was a second sun or Nibiru or some planet. And again, I don't know exactly your evidence you've got here, but it's just in general, you know, when you see that planet then moving down in front of the bushes that are only 2 feet away from you and things, because it's the light reflecting off the iris of the camera. And all cameras are different, you know, so you need to know, and that's what Dazza the cameraman does. He goes through all of the manuals and the known glitches and most of the stuff that's really, really interesting and weird and anomalous to look at first. If you pursue it and look for an explanation, 9 times out of 10, it's actually out there. It might not be as exciting as the second sun stuff, but there we go. That's well, we've got somebody in there chuffed that you made the Kev Baker show. Dark Wolf's Den, I'm chuffed to have you here. We've got, I think, and then I went through that one. See, it's jumped. I won't be visible because it is real. We won't see it if it's a red dwarf. We wouldn't see it with our naked eye, and we did. It would be over. Then why is nobody else talking about it, Holly? That's what I'm talking about. If you've seen it and it would all be over, then it should all be over now then, right? Theoretically. And if something comes that close to the sun's going to start interacting with it. And it will become visible. It will become visible if the sun starts interacting with it. But it's not. It just isn't. It's one of those topics that there's undue fear out there. And it's such a clickbaity, LARPy people that, not you, Holly, but the ones that push it constantly. These people have been telling people there's second suns coming forever. And I'm not saying that you haven't seen it, but I would definitely like to see more evidence of what it is you are seeing. Because it's not here, then how have you got a picture of it? Do you know what I mean? How come you've seen it if it's not here? And if you've seen it and it's not here, why haven't other people seen it? That's my only kind of point on that one. Yeah, exactly, Holly. I hate when people show lens flares. Me too. That's a really good clickbait tactic because people who don't know about them, it looks amazing, doesn't it? It doesn't. Holly, don't think I'm having a go at you because I'm not. It's just, so if I send you these images, you will look at them. That's what the Discord's for, Holly. Absolutely. But I can't promise you that what I tell you or what I find out is going to be what you want to hear. That's the only thing. And that worries me because I'll probably lose listeners that way because I can only be honest. And if I do think there's something not right about what you're showing me, I'll try and back up what you're, not just you, Holly, this goes for anyone. You know, I'll try and back it up with why I'm saying what I'm saying, if that makes sense. You see what I mean? So you'll never see Planet X coming unless you see an infrared, but you wouldn't need to see it coming. It would start to have perturbation effect on the other planets. Okay? It's still got mass, and because it's got mass, it's going to start affecting the other planets when it starts coming into the inner solar system. That's why you are technically going to see it, because you'll see the other planets reacting to it. Maybe Mars will start, its orbit will get pushed off. Why did that happen? And amateur astronomers, if they don't have the infrared capabilities to see things, they're still going to see Mars moving. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing right now coming into this solar system. I can safely say that to you. Safely. And I've got Dr. Brian Keating. He's coming on the 23rd of September. And I'll ask him, like I ask young Brendan all the time as well. Anything happening? It just isn't. The Earth's atmosphere acts as a lens creating a virtual image of the sun. But that's pretty... There is a lens in effect. There is. Somebody's seen a video of a UFO landing and a grey alien walking around. I'd love to see a grey alien. Yeah, exactly, King Sweet. We could encounter some rogue planet. Look at the interstellar visitors we've had. Oumuamua, another one the other day, that small one that went flying through. Absolutely, we could. But again, I from what I've seen, and I'm no expert, but I would imagine, shall we say, we would know by now. But well, let's move on to the crazy criminals, because we need our crazy criminals before I get going here. And I've heard Anne starting to take over the dinner. Never a good sign. So then, and I'll leave you people out there to send me information on the second son. I'm yet to be convinced. I'll take a lot of convincing on this one, as you can tell. But here we go. A man allegedly hiding drugs in his butt accidentally shoots himself in the testicles. And this, my friends out there, is what I call universal eugenics. This is saving the gene pool from any other geniuses like this. Says a bungling felon from Washington State made a series of blunders when he shot himself in the testicles and tried to hide the weapon, all while storing drugs in his anus. A report heard on Wednesday. Why does it strike me as the minute he shot himself in his happy parts, probably the stuff that he had secreted up his hoo-hoo, his bumhole. I don't think that would have been anywhere on his scale of problems to worry about, right? You've just blown your nuts off. Cameron Jeffrey Wilson, there's that 3-name thing again. And ladies in America, don't be going home with any guys with 3 names. Ask them, do you have 3 names? Says he was carrying a pistol in his front pocket while in his Kashmir, Washington apartment on April the 5th, when the firearm accidentally discharged and pierced his groin and thigh. Now, Wilson, who is a 13-time convicted felon, told his girlfriend to dispose of the weapon before heading to the hospital, the paper said. Now, when the ex-con finally went to the hospital, a balloon of marijuana slipped out of his anus while the doctor was operating on the gunshot wound. Oh, you're absolutely knackered, mate. The court records show cops also arrived at the hospital when alerted of the gunshot wound and searched Wilson's car, where they discovered a bag of meth in the blood-stained jeans he was wearing when he shot himself. Now, the officers issued an arrest warrant for Wilson, and he turned himself into the police on April the 18th. As he was being processed at the Chelan County Regional Justice Centre, Wilson was strip-searched, and another balloon of marijuana slipped from his anus. Man, oh man, has he been putting so much stuff up there that everything just keeps on falling out? That's not the thought I need before I have my stew dinner. While in jail, Wilson was a popular boy, I bet he was, made a number of calls to his girlfriend and asked her not to cooperate with investigators working on the case. Authorities were listening in on the calls. Dude, this chick has got no respect for you. She can't have any respect for you, not once, but twice confirmed you've been stuffing things up your own smelly place. No self-respecting woman is going to stay with you for any amount of time after that. I'm sorry. You can't sit across the table looking at somebody knowing that they've been doing that. And that's at least 2 times. In fact, you've been doing it that many times, you can't even keep stuff up there anymore. What the hell's going on, dude? Get it sorted, man. Get it sorted. Said the convicted felon was charged with possession of a firearm, unlawful possession of meth, possession of a controlled substance in a correctional facility, and 4 counts of tampering with a witness. My sick mind. That sounds like somebody tampered with him. Just saying. Wilson was being held on $110,000 bail and is due in court on June the 18th. And I'm sure by now he's having a happy long time in the jail. What? I don't get it, folks. I don't get it. But this next one, the next dumb criminal to wrap up the story, right? Wrap up the show. This one caught my attention. I've not read it, but the headline alone, it just looks like it's going to be one of those stories, right? 2 drunk Amish men caught drinking and driving in a decked-out horse-drawn buggy. Now, this isn't the type of story that you hear all the time, right? So when you think of the Amish population, certain things come to mind. Agriculture, butter churning, and simple, no-frills living. However, it turns out there's some rebels in their midst. 2 Amish men are on the run from the police after their horse-drawn buggy was pulled over early on Sunday morning, September 15th. The Trumbull County Sheriff's deputies in North Bloomfield, Ohio, saw the gentleman chugging beer aboard their buggy. Look at it, man. It's pimped out. Pimp your buggy. So we scroll down a bit. It says, after pulling them over, the drunken pair ran off into the woodland, leaving the horse continuing down the road. According to Fox 8, deputies not only found a 12-pack of Michelob Ultras, I've never been able to say that word either, on top of the buggy with several open bottles inside. But it turns out this particular Amish duo liked to pimp their ride. There was a massive stereo system. I thought they didn't like technology. Isn't that like the Amish gig? Officers towed the buggy and found someone to take care of the horse until the owners came forward. Those owners ain't coming forward. The Amish are a Christian group that originated with the Anabaptist Swiss Germans in 16th century Europe, traditionally avoiding modern technologies like electricity. One has to imagine a hi-fi system wouldn't be welcomed in their community. Well, I think the opposite, in fact. I think somebody with the kahunas to bring a pimped-out horse buggy into the community, maybe they're seen as a bit of a character. Maybe they're seen as a bit of a trendsetter, right? It's 2019, folks. Even the Amish need to upgrade soon. As it would turn out, crime rates among the Amish are actually on the rise, with drink driving being a reoccurring issue. Now, drink driving, it's not a laughing matter. I wasn't laughing at that. I'm just laughing at crazy Amish, not crazy Amish people. Remember, when Scottish people say crazy, we don't necessarily mean it in a bad way. This is characters. This is what we call characters over here. Law enforcement officials from Lancaster County say that 9,000 people currently under court supervision, around 100 of them are Amish and Old Order Mennonites. It's a small number, but it's still an increase. A 70-year-old man and religious leader from Leola, who asked to remain unnamed, told NBC News, "There are more of us now. 30 or 50 years ago, the church could keep a tighter cap on it. Today, they're more apt to getting in trouble. Years ago, there didn't seem to be as many crimes." Now, in April this year, a police dash cam caught a 21-year-old Amish man in Ohio running a stop sign while admitting to drinking 10 beers. Well, I tell you, they know how to party, these Amish, right? And in June, Reuben Yoder, 34, was arrested after colliding with a car at a Kentucky interchange while under the influence of alcohol. Now, according to the Bowling Green Daily News, as per the New York Post, Ohio is home to the largest Amish community in the world. Their population in Ohio grew 22% between 2010 and 2019 from 58,000 to 76,000. I didn't actually realize there was as many as that. I didn't. At the same time, I can't say I've sat and spent hours pondering how many Amish people there were, but that's more than I would have put the ballpark figure at. And it says that number is more than double the 1992 population, which was just below 35,000. Dang! The Amish know how to party, right? It would seem so. Love you long time, technology or no technology, I suppose. When you've no technology, you have to find something to do, right? I'm just saying, I'm not being crude. I was talking about farming. See? Damn. So yeah, there we have it, folks, for another day. I'm going to go into the chat room, see what people are saying, and I hope I haven't offended Holly. I hate it when I don't agree with somebody's thing. It makes me feel bad. I'm going to go into the chat room. I hope Holly's still there. I really do. But let's have a look and see what people are saying about our crazy criminals. So StreamLabs, a big hello to the StreamLabs bot in there. Don't drink and buggy. Oh, that should be on T-shirts. That truly should be on T-shirts. Chuck Man or Chuck Bam Bam. Think about Dog Man in the woods. Oh, dude. No, and we need to scroll up. We missed the boy with the balls. Or without the balls. There we go. Holly's still in there. Awesome. Maybe the fact that he just blew his own balls off stopped him from controlling his bowels. You see, possibly. But then he let another pack of weed slip out. This boy just can't touch his toes without his behind looking like a yawning hippopotamus. And I'm sorry if that leaves you a really, really horrible image in your mind. It's meant to. You see, I'm bad. I'm bad during the day. I've got a horrid sense of humour, folks. It says, Captain, there are Klingons on your Uranus. There certainly are. Man, that's some real good. 776 says she ain't going to respect him with one eyeball anyway. Oh, dear. Dear. Unique Lee, it's okay. He can transition in prison to being a safer space. He'll be called Janice in a year's time in the correctional facility. Unique Lee, I love it. I like that. People think as sick as I do. It's good. So America, says Lady Blah Blah. Only in America. If drugs were legal, this wouldn't have happened, probably. King says, the dog on the right looks tasty. Dark says he didn't hold it in very well. Indeed. Yes, he is pretty. Yes, he'll go a long way in the jail, literally. Heroin is brown. We should get 10 years for being stupid. I think stupidity should come with a custodial sentence as well, I do. Lucky it didn't go off when he had his firearm holstered internally. It's lucky he didn't blow everything off. Coming down now, we're getting into the Amish. Amish is another Freemasonry experiment. Well, those there Freemasons are having themselves a damn good time in their pimped out buggies, let me tell you. It was a low-speed chase. They be strange. Amish road rage. Amish paradise. They think about Dogman in the woods. We were there. I remember that one. Don't drink in buggies. We've done that one. I saw an Amish drive-by once. Dang. That's got to be hard to do a getaway in a buggy, right? Like a comet, but mass has got nothing to do with it. Okay, you're still on that. Cool. I'm yet to be convinced nothing, as it seems. Mass has got nothing to do with it. I think you'll find if a planetary object comes into our solar system, the mass of that might have something to do with planets round about it. Just saying. Bad boys, what you going to do? A horse buggy with a subwoofer. That's what I call a party. Clop, 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 bang, 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 clop, clop, clop. And then, boom, boom, boom. You got to get the bass going. Russia must be Mikolov. Let's go down. I need to get wrapped up here, folks. I lived next to the Amish and Mennonite for 12 years. I can tell you all about their weird habits and why. Brian, there's a conversation for another day. Drive-bys, don't miss. Run! There we go. We're almost out of here, folks. We are. Neil Bowie, great show again, Kev and chat crew. Just off to have my roast, chihuahua and Siamese kebabs. Love to you all. Much love to you and much love to everyone out there. It's been a blast. It has. And if you want to join the Discord server, if you want to send me anything, all you have to do is email kbsdiscord@protonmail.com. That's kbsdiscord@protonmail.com. And what I'm going to be doing is, for the next 10 minutes, I'll be over there on the email address, and I will be answering the emails, sending out a link. It's good for 24 hours. And if you take too long to join, that's okay. Just hit me up again, and I'll send you out another invite. So I'll be back tonight, I believe, on the TFR, on the Kev Baker Show, Truth Frequency Radio, tfrlive.com. I was trying to think if I've got a guest. I don't think I do. No simulcast tonight, so I'll be back tomorrow on the daytime stream. In fact, keep an eye on social media tomorrow, and I'll let the Discord server know as well, because I've got an appointment tomorrow afternoon, so I don't know if I'll be back in time, but just keep your eyes and open for information on that. And when I know, you will know. I'll let you all know. So until tomorrow, folks, have a good one, and obviously I'll see you over in the chat room on TFR Live today, right? That's where you're all going to be later. 10 p.m. in the UK, 5 p.m. on the East Coast, and that is 2 p.m. on the West Coast. So for another day, folks, I am out of here. Keep it real. Remember what I say all the time, because I don't. Remember to keep your mind open, but not to the point where your brain turns to goo and it starts running down the side of your neck, and it looks like black goo. So then, I'm out of here. Keep it real.